Welcome to DrupalBrief. This is an AI-generated summary of another video, podcast, or blog post. If you want to learn more about what's being discussed here, then please go check out the source. This podcast is sponsored by Drupal Forge. Drupal Forge is an open-source, lightning-fast demo, development, and testing platform. It spins up Drupal sites in less than 5 seconds, complete with a browser-based VS Code. Want to try Drupal CMS, Drupal AI, Experience Builder? No need to install anything on your laptop. Drupal Forge has you covered. Even Composer, Drush, and AI keys are pre-installed so you can hit the ground running. Demo Drupal in less than 5 seconds only at Drupal Forge. Please take a second to click subscribe. We're a new podcast and this helps us a lot. Okay, that's it. Ready? Here we go.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise and sift through the sources to bring you the truly vital insights. Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're plunging into a topic that isn't just relevant, but, well, absolutely pivotal right now. It's about the intricate dance between human-centered design, HCD, and responsible AI, and specifically how that's unfolding within the complex world of federal digital services. So our compass for this deep dive, our guide, you could say, points us to this really insightful YouTube video excerpt. It's from the Drupal for Gov channel. The session. It's titled Drupal for People, Leveraging Human-Centered Design and Responsible AI in Federal Digital Services. Apt, right?
Very apt.
Our mission today is clear. We want to unearth the nuanced strategies for integrating AI, not just responsibly, but in a way that's deeply human-centric, especially within the layered realities of government operations.
Yeah, it's a tough environment for that sometimes.
We're not just looking at what happened in their talk, but really digging into what it means for anyone navigating this, well, rapidly evolving landscape.
And what immediately sets their perspective apart, I think, is that the speakers, Sarah and Aparna, even though they were former colleagues at the Department of Labor, they made it really clear they weren't speaking in any official capacity.
Ah, okay. That's important context.
Definitely. This isn't, polished policy speak.
Right.
It feels much more from the ground up, almost unfiltered, looking at what's really happening. And that immediate signal of personal experience, like straight from the trenches, it just lends so much credibility, practical weight to what they're saying.
Absolutely. Grounded in real-world stuff.
Exactly. Insights that come from actual challenges, maybe even some triumphs.
Absolutely. And you mentioned those real-world challenges. That's kind of where this crucial conversation seems to have started, almost organically. So Sarah, she's a user experience subject matter expert, a UX SME within OCIO.
Okay, the Chief Information Officer's Office, the central IT hub.
Right. And she's been an in-house UX designer for a while. She found what sounds like a real kindred spirit in Aparna. Sarah actually called Aparna quite fondly one of her favorite clients.
Oh, that's nice. It suggests a good working relationship.
It really does. And it wasn't just about their specific project work, apparently. It sparked this much wider ongoing dialogue between them. Started early 2024. Kept going for months.
So like a passion project almost.
It's exactly. A shared intellectual curiosity that went beyond just the day job.
That organic collaboration sparked by that shared challenge. It brings us to a really crucial insight Sarah shared. She talked quite candidly about the varying level of maturity of UX practices across different federal agencies.
Yeah, I can imagine that varies a lot.
It does. And it's not just some minor detail, right? It's a critical challenge. It impacts everything: project success, citizen satisfaction. Agencies might say they value UX, but actually embedding it, putting those human-centered principles into practice, that can be wildly different.
Sure. Talking the talk versus walking the walk.
Precisely. And what makes Sarah and Aparna's story so powerful, maybe even a blueprint, is Aparna's proactive approach. She didn't just, wait for UX input. She actively went out of her way to engage with the UX team.
Okay, so she was seeking it out.
Yes. And the insight here is pretty profound, I think. When someone like Aparna proactively engages with HCD, it's more than just helping one project. It signals a real cultural shift in the organization.
It shows it's actually valued.
Exactly. Valued not as some compliance checkbox, but as a strategic imperative.
Yeah.
It creates an environment where understanding the user actually drives innovation, doesn't just, inform it after the fact.
That makes UX a strategic partner, not just a service provider.
That's it. A really important distinction.
It really is. Moving from passively receiving to actively seeking. And here's a fascinating little detail, almost meta, that really sets the tone, underscores how deeply AI is already kind of woven into things. They mentioned they even had several AI work very hard on with us on slides. for their own presentation.
Wow, okay. Using AI to talk about AI.
Right. So from the jump, AI wasn't just the topic, it was an active co-creator. It shows a practical integration many places are still, aiming for.
Yeah, it highlights just how quickly these tools are being adopted, even for things like building slides.
Definitely. Now, when Sarah and Aparna actually started their session, they made it super clear. This wasn't going to be some rigid lecture. They explicitly called it a conversation, a work in progress, something they were shaping and reshaping right up until, and I quote, a half an hour ago.
Huh. That feels very real-world conference prep.
Doesn't it? But that emphasis on dialogue, on flexibility, adapting in real time, that's just so incredibly key, especially for a topic like AI that's changing so fast.
Totally. No one has all the answers yet.
Correct.
Collective intelligence is needed.
Right. And then they described their method for engaging the audience, especially, end of a long conference day. They called it taking the temperature of the room.
Ah, okay.
Which, for anyone familiar with design thinking, that immediately flags a core UX research technique.
That's a critical point about their approach. And it raises an important question. What does taking the temperature or using contextual interviews really mean here, especially for AI?
Good question. It's not just Q&A, right?
Not at all. It's much more about observing and listening deeply, seeing people in their sort of natural environment, maybe a conference room, maybe their office, and letting their unprompted insights, their genuine feelings, their unspoken assumptions just surface.
Without bias, without leading questions.
Exactly. You're not trying to steer them anywhere. You just want to understand their genuine perspective, meet them where they are. And this non-directive method is absolutely crucial when you're exploring something sensitive and fast-moving like AI, where, as they rightly pointed out, there's a lot of feeling.
People aren't just thinking about AI, they're feeling about it.
Precisely. Excitement, apprehension, uncertainty, often a really complex mix.
Yeah, and a standard survey might just miss all that emotional nuance. And you can almost feel like you're right there with them as they ask their 4 key questions. They use these to gauge the audience's feelings, painting this vivid picture of different perspectives on AI. First, show of hands. How many were avid supporters of integration of AI and automation personally?
Okay, personal life buy-in.
Right. It was all in for themselves. Then they shifted. Avid users and supporters professionally. And what was striking, they noted, was almost a 50-50 split between personal and professional enthusiasm.
Oh, interesting. That's a key distinction.
Isn't often gets overlooked. Next, they tackled the elephant in the room for many. How many of you feel a significant amount of anxiety?
Directly addressing the fear. Good.
Yeah, acknowledging that very real fear people have about AI's implications. And finally, for those kind of navigating the middle ground, how many of you just don't know you're ambivalent? You haven't come down on one side or the other. You're still kind of like, you're open to it, but you're not sure.
The undecided group.
Exactly. And here's where their findings got really illuminating. Sarah openly admitted she was surprised. She found a nice mix of responses.
Surprised? Why?
Well, her initial expectation, and maybe ours too, was that they'd find mostly fear. She actually said, I'm actually surprised because there's a lot of fear.
That is interesting.
What does that tell us, you think, about the common narratives around AI versus maybe the lived experience?
Well, it suggests that while the big public conversation often defaults to, dystopian worries, the reality on the ground among professionals actually using or considering AI is maybe far more nuanced.
Yeah, not so black and white.
Not at all. And that mix, it's not just interesting, it's incredibly significant for anyone designing or implementing AI solutions. It immediately reveals a crucial insight. User sentiment is a multidimensional spectrum. It's not just yes or no.
Right. Avid support, deep anxiety, ambivalence.
Exactly. And understanding those nuances isn't just about empathy, though that's important. It's a strategic imperative.
Yeah.
If you ignore this spectrum, you can end up with AI solutions that are, underused, actively resisted, maybe even harmful.
So designing for psychological comfort and trust is as important as functional utility.
Absolutely. It hinges on it. And expanding on that, think about that nearly 50-50 split. Personal versus professional enthusiasm.
What's the tension there?
Well, someone might love AI for managing their smart home or whatever, but get really cautious when the same kind of tool touches their professional duties.
Especially in government, maybe, where privacy, security, equity are huge.
Exactly. It's not hypocrisy. It's just different risk levels, different accountability.
Different context, different reactions.
Right. And as designers, we have to recognize the user isn't monolithic. They're individuals in complex roles with concerns and ethics that shift with the context.
That's a critical distinction. So, okay, we acknowledge this spectrum. What about the anxiety part? Sarah observed significant anxiety. How should designers or implementers respond to that fear, not just dismiss it?
That's a deeply important question. Anxiety isn't just, an emotion to manage. It's a signal.
A signal of what? Job loss fears, privacy, bias, loss of control.
Could be any or all of those. Often it's rooted in legitimate concerns about control, transparency, accountability, the perceived threat to human agency or security.
So the response isn't to minimize it.
No, definitely not. It's to address it head-on through thoughtful design. That means building in features that promote transparency, like explaining how the AI got to its conclusion.
The explainability factor.
Right, enabling human oversight, human intervention points, and also clearly communicating the AI's purpose, its scope, its limitations.
Okay, setting clear boundaries and expectations.
Yes. The insight here, I think, is that designing for anxiety isn't about avoiding AI. It's about building trust, demonstrating respect for those human concerns, making sure that tech augments human decision-making where it matters most, rather than replacing it wholesale.
That proactive approach could maybe turn apprehension into cautious acceptance.
That's the goal, build that trust.
That's incredibly powerful. Okay, so we have the avid supporters, the anxious. What about the group in the middle? Those who just don't know, the ambivalent, the uncertain. What do they tell us? How do we design for them?
The ambivalent users. They're actually a golden opportunity.
Really? How so?
Well, unlike those who are firmly pro or con, this group is potentially open to influence. They haven't decided yet.
Oh, they're receptive.
Exactly. Receptive to well-designed, trustworthy experiences. For these users, you really want to focus on clear value propositions, intuitive interfaces, low-risk ways to try things out.
Make it easy and safe to engage.
Yes. Show clear use cases, gentle onboarding, immediate tangible benefits. That can really convert ambivalence into adoption.
So ambivalence isn't resistance. It's more like an invitation.
That's a great way to put it. An invitation for education and empowerment. By carefully crafting those initial interactions, showing positive outcomes, designers can guide these users towards becoming confident, informed participants instead of leaving them uncertain.
It really is a fascinating psychological landscape that AI has to navigate. And just to bring this full circle with a tangible example of how fast this is all moving, Sarah shared her own experience. She joined federal employment just 2 years prior.
Okay, relatively recently then.
Yeah. And even then, she said she was already starting to work with what was out there in terms of AI tools for assistance.
Wow. So just 2 years ago, it was already present.
Exactly. It gives you a clear, recent example of how quickly AI got integrated, even into large, maybe traditionally slower-moving organizations like government.
It's definitely not some far-off future concept.
Not at all. It's a current reality, reshaping daily work for thousands right now. So, wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? Our deep dive today really reveals a landscape where that conversation between HCD and responsible AI isn't just ongoing. It's increasingly urgent and complex.
Definitely complex.
We've seen that HCD maturity varies wildly across agencies. And crucially, so do the feelings about AI, even among seasoned government professionals.
Yeah, that spectrum is key.
It's a field with both huge opportunities and really profound human questions attached.
Expanding on that, recognizing and truly understanding those varied perspectives, from the avid support through the significant anxiety to that crucial ambivalence, that understanding is paramount, especially when you're designing critical federal digital services.
You can't just ignore the anxiety or the uncertainty.
You really can't. It just underscores the critical need for empathy, for rigorous user research, for a commitment to transparency, even, or perhaps especially, for advanced tech like AI. We simply cannot assume a monolithic user base. We have to design for this diverse range of human experiences, emotional reactions, ethical considerations.
It's not just a nice-to-have best practice anymore.
No, it's foundational. Foundational for building public trust and ensuring equitable service delivery.
So here's a final thought for you to mull over. As AI continues its rapid integration into, well, pretty much all facets of our lives, especially public services, how might you apply these principles of human-centered design? How do we ensure these incredibly powerful tools genuinely serve people rather than just say, automate tasks away.
Yeah, that's the core challenge.
Consider this. If an AI tool boosts efficiency, but it alienates a big chunk of its users because they're anxious or don't understand it, has it truly succeeded?
Good question. Efficiency isn't the only metric.
Exactly. It's not just about building AI. It's about building responsible, trustworthy, and truly human-aligned AI. We invite you to be part of that crucial conversation. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
That is a wrap on today's Drupal Brief. Remember, this was an AI-generated summary, so be sure to check out the original source for the full story and all the details. Before you go, if what you heard today got you excited about trying something new in Drupal, remember that Drupal Forge has you covered. Whether you want to test that new module, demo a concept to your team, or just explore the latest Drupal features, you're literally 5 seconds away from a fully loaded development environment. No downloads, no setup, no hassle. Just pure Drupal innovation at your fingertips. If this episode was helpful, please hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. It really helps other Drupal developers discover the show. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next Drupal Brief.